Looking at the Miami Dolphins, this is a team that I think has some momentum going for it heading into the 2013 season, but I'm not going to go totally batshit crazy on them because I think they may still be another 1 year away or so from being able to being taken really seriously in the AFC and really challenging New England in the AFC East. This is a team last year that got okay performances out of Ryan Tannehill. There were games where he was good, and there were other games he was eh. He'll have to improve and get better in his second year. But if you're a Dolphin fan and you watched Tannehill last year, you have to at least be somewhat encouraged, I would think. He had some nice games, and the Dolphins as a whole were better because of him. They really were. But Tannehill in year two, I think he's going to bring a little bit more to the table. Now, they spent big as an organization in the offseason for whatever reason on some guys. I guess I could see bringing in a Mike Wallace. He brings in a big-time down-the-field vertical threat in the passing game that Miami was sorely lacking. Expecting him to be a number one wide receiver, I've not always been sold that Mike Wallace is a number one. However, does he bring something different to the table? Does he bring a certain explosiveness to the table to complement a Brian Hartline? Yes, he does. You've got Hartline on the other side, who's a very, very good possession receiver, in my opinion. Now, they also spent money on Dustin Keller and brought him in from the New York Jets. And it's unfortunate that he got injured like that because that was another weapon that Tannehill could have had at his disposal in the passing game. And usually that tight end is always a great safety valve for a young quarterback in particular. And now he's not necessarily going to have that. The running game for the Dolphins, they'll have a bit of a two-headed monster, even though Lamar Miller, I think, is clearly the better back compared to Daniel Thomas. You might see Daniel Thomas get some change of pace work as a bigger power back and some goal line carries potentially. But their fourth-round pick from last year, Lamar Miller, it's going to be curious to see if he can actually establish himself as an NFL feature back this year. The offensive line is going to be one to watch, too, because now you've got Jake Long out of the picture, your first-round pick from 5 years ago. He's gone. He went to St. Louis. So who's going to be able to step in at left tackle and fill that void? While Jake Long wasn't the best left tackle in the entire universe, he was still a very good NFL player and a very good left tackle. And you need that very good left tackle in the NFL to protect your quarterback's blind side. I would expect this Dolphins offense to put up a little bit more in terms of offense, put up a few more points than they did last year, but they're still far from a complete offensive unit. Now, on the defensive side of the football, this is definitely the strength of the Dolphins organization. They're a pretty good defensive unit. They're a little bit ways away from being an elite defensive unit. They spent some money on this side of the ball. And then the big shocker was that they traded up 9 spots in the draft to go ahead and get Dion Jordan, the outside pass rusher from Oregon. So obviously, this organization feels that Dion Jordan is going to be a special pass rusher and bring a special explosive element to the edge of their defense that they feel like they sorely needed opposite Cameron Wake. They did need a pass rusher opposite Cameron Wake. I'm not going to lie there. But I'm just wondering still if Dion Jordan will ultimately be the right pick for this team or not. This is a defense that I think is still a little iffy at times in the secondary, but they're still overall an okay unit. When I look at the Miami Dolphins as a team as a whole, they're just kind of okay. Not that that's a horrible thing, but they're just okay. Now, this could be a team that could surprise me a little bit this year, maybe win 10 games and maybe find a way to sneak into the back end of that AFC wildcard picture. That is possible, but that's going to take a lot of growth and development out of Tannehill, who I'm a very big fan of, but I'm not quite sure if he's ready to do that just yet. I think this is a Dolphins team that's going to win 8 games, probably 9, and finish in a solid second in the AFC East, building towards 2014 as the time that they're really looking to strike. The New England Patriots are still off on their own little island in this division, I think, but I do think that window is closing very rapidly, especially with the Dolphins starting to come up and maybe be in a position to nip at their heels.